Shoo-wee-da, shing-a-lang-a-ding-dong, Nick, Kids' Choice. Nick, Kids' Choice.
Nickelodeon presents Kids' Choice, the only show that celebrates kids' favorites in music, TV, movies, and sports. From the Conan Sword and Sorcerer Spectacular Arena, on the Universal Studios tour in Universal City, California. Kids' Choice, with host Tony Danza and co-hosts Bryan Robbins, Dan Schneider, and Debbie Gibson. Special guest Mark Summers, Ann Mackenzie Aston, Charles Barkley, Josie Davis, Tiffany Brissett, the Fat Boys, Bobby the Brain Heenan, Stacy Keenan, Jeremy Miller, Danny Pintaro, and Will Wheaton, featuring Les Lies, Ross Urich, and the Jive Five. And now, the host of Kids' Choice, Tony Danza.
Thank you. Thank you.
This video is brought to you by La La Land. I mean Patreon. On March 19th, 1953, the 25th Annual Academy Awards ceremony was held. The ceremony was notable for two major reasons. First was the unexpected Best Picture win for Cecil B. DeMille's The Greatest Show on Earth, over more highly regarded films like High Noon, The Quiet Man, and Ivanhoe. Many consider this one to be the greatest upsets in Oscar history, and The Greatest Show on Earth one of the worst, if not the worst film to ever win Best Picture. At least until Crash happened. The second notable thing about the 25th Academy Awards was that they were the first to be televised. It had been broadcast over radio since 1930, but in need of additional funding, the Academy of Motion Pictures and Sciences sought television sponsorships through a deal with NBC.
But isn't it exciting to know that a lot of these glamorous stars are going to be in your homes tonight? All over America, housewives are turning to their husbands and saying, "Put on your shirt, Joan Crawford is coming." Television, that's where movies go when they die.
The broadcast was quite successful, reaching 64 networks and an audience of 34 million people. The glitz and glamour of Hollywood, now in your living room. It wasn't the first entertainment award show to be televised. The Emmys have been broadcasting since 1950, but, they're the television awards, so of course. The success of the Academy broadcast would solidify the award show as its own genre of television. It was followed into television by the Golden Globes in 1958, the Grammy Awards in 1959, and the Tony Awards in 1967. These ceremonies began to implement more performance elements for the television crowd, and in 1970, the Academy Awards reached a record 43.4% of American households, according to Nielsen. Internationally, the Academy Awards were reaching 76 countries by 1984. These awards were as much a part of the pop culture landscape as the media they were awarding. As entertaining as these shows were, however, they were industry professionals giving awards to other industry professionals. Why not get the public in on this? In 1975, CBS premiered the People's Choice Awards, a general entertainment award show covering movies, music, television, and sports. The twist being that all nominations and winners were determined by public polling. While not doing Oscar numbers, the People's Choice Awards remained a steady presence in the award show landscape to this day. In 1984, Jerry Laybourne took over operations of the first cable network for kids, Nickelodeon. In her attempt to steer the channel away from the what parents think is good for kids green vegetable reputation, she took a number of actions to give the channel's young audience a sense of control over what they watched. This manifested in a number of ways, including a lot of information gathering, surveys, focus groups, asking kids directly what they wanted to see. A lot of this was behind the scenes, but some of this was worked into the programming itself. For example, Nick Rocks had kids writing in for what music videos they wanted to see, which not only gave the young audience a sense of ownership over what aired, but was also easy marketing data to see what musical acts young people were interested in, or if Nickelodeon's pushes of certain acts like the Monkees were working. Another tactic Laybourne's Nickelodeon took was in producing children's versions of shows in more grown-up genres. It's a film review show. For kids. It's a reality court show. For kids. And, most successfully, it's a game show. For kids. All these shows featured children in main roles, and many of them gave the air that the kids themselves had a significant hand in making the show. Nickelodeon would be the channel where kids were in control. Or, at the very least, there would be the illusion that kids were in control. So, as Nickelodeon continued its post-Double Dare momentum, Laybourne looked for the next big adult television genre they could convert, as well as the next avenue to collect market data. Well, how about an entertainment award show? For kids! Oh, and what if we based it on the People's Choice Awards, having kids vote for their favorite movies, television shows, and celebrities? That would be some fine data collection right there. I'm sure certain entertainment companies would be very interested in that data. In 1987, Nickelodeon ran The Big Ballot, a mail-in promotion attached to Nick's film review show, Rated K, for kids by kids.
For years, adults have had their award shows to pick their favorite movies, their favorite records, and their favorite athletes.
Now it's kids' turn to pick their favorites as Nickelodeon announces Big Ballot, the first nationwide poll just for kids.
Big Ballot is where you pick your #1 movie, your hit record, and your favorite athlete.
So tune in to Nickelodeon after January 18th for the big news on how to cast your vote and when to see the winners on the Big Ballot Show.
Nickelodeon's Big Ballot, a big idea whose time has come. Brought to you by Bonkers Chewy Candy and Post Cereals.
The channel's young audience was encouraged to vote for their favorites among a nominated list of media and celebrities, and the winners would be announced in the back half of 4 weekly episodes of Rated K, from March 28, 1987 to April 18, 1987. These 4 episodes were split into 4 major categories with 3 awards each: movies, television, music, and sports. And the winners, some of them anyway, accepted their award, a kaleidoscope, via a pre-recorded video message.
All right, are you guys ready?
Yes, I'm ready.
The winner, Kim Fields.
Yeah!
Okay.
Thank you very much for voting for me. This means a lot to me and to the other girls on the show, which I share this award with, because we realize the responsibility that we have as far as you're concerned, and we will do everything in our power, both on and off camera, to live up to that. Thanks again.
The award concept was sound, the amount of ballots mailed in encouraging, but the format was all wrong, spreading it out over a month, making it the back half of one of their normal, easily ignorable programs, being presented by random children sitting at a table instead of as a special formal event, minimal celebrity involvement. Nothing about what made award shows entertaining was present. And besides, the people behind Rated K were still playing around with the format, and going into 1988, the show got a massive overhaul, replacing its entire cast and becoming more of an entertainment news program than just a film review show. And that also didn't work, and by December of 1988, the show was off the air completely. If this idea was to continue, it would have to stand on its own. Championing this new version was Alan Goodman and Fred Siebert, the men who had overhauled Nick's visual image from the silver ball of yesteryear to the orange splat era, and their new associate, Albie Hetch. Through their new company, Chauncey Street Productions, the 3 of them were already well in development of Kids Court, another production based around kids controlling the outcome. So it seemed they were on firm ground when pitching this new award show. It took a little more convincing than they expected, but they did kind of shoot for the moon. It's one of the most proud things I've ever done in my life, but it didn't start well. I thought I had something great and came up with a great model and sketch, and I go to meet Jerry Laybourne and Jeffrey Darby and pitch this big idea where we're going to do a live 2-hour broadcast in a place like Madison Square Garden with 3 rings to it, like a 3-ring circus, with acts at each one, and we're going to have 15,000 kids screaming and yelling, and there was brutal silence. At the time, I always thought silence was good, that I had stunned people, but subsequently learned it's bad. The first words back that Jerry ever spoke to me were, "I think I'm gonna throw up." I mean, sure, Nickelodeon finally had money, but it didn't have Madison Square Garden money. Let's build up to that. The base award show idea was sound though. Just make it fun and make it an outlet of expression for Nickelodeon's young audience. On April 18th, 1988, Nickelodeon premiered the first annual Kids' Choice Awards.
You can't do that on television, and Double Dare will not be seen tonight, so Nickelodeon can bring you the first annual Kids' Choice Awards. Next.
There really is no kind of venue for kids like the Academy Awards or the Tonys or the Emmys or the Grammys. Nickelodeon is really committed to representing kids in a way where, how should I put this, where we give them an opportunity to be themselves and be heard. The whole Kids' Choice effort is the essence of that philosophy. The first Kids' Choice Awards was filmed at Universal Studios in Hollywood, Florida, specifically on the stage of The Adventures of Conan, a sword and sorcery spectacular. The show's big, fire-breathing snake animatronic showing up near the end to antagonize the hosts.
Go! Come on, get away! Come on! Hey!
This first attempt tried to include a plot of sorts, a narrative through line for the various hosts to go through. You Can't Do That on Television's Ross is very confused at the presence of two caves on the main set. The show's producer, Jeremy Miller, aka Ben from Growing Pains, explains that one of them leads backstage while the other is weird and mysterious and something bad will happen if you step into it. Oh, House of Leaves! Our main host, Tony Danza, manages to keep this straight. But the same can't be said for our secondary hosts, a trio made up of young pop idol Debbie Gibson and, this is wild, two of the stars of the hit sitcom Head of the Class, who would both go on to be two of the most important people in Nickelodeon's history. Future All That creator and the current president of Nickelodeon, Bryan Robbins, and the future creator of the channel's most defining sitcoms of the 21st century, including The Amanda Show, Drake and Josh, Zoe 101, iCarly, Victorious, Henry Danger, and Game Shakers, Dan Schneider. Okay, no, we'll cross that bridge when we get to it. And today is not that day. Actually, Robbins might be the one to watch out for here, as he apparently was pursuing the young singer Debbie Gibson. Here's what Gibson's 1990 biography says about their relationship. Another actor who loves Debbie, that is, who admitted to a fascination with her, is Bryan Robbins, who plays Eric on TV's Head of the Class sitcom. Bryan had a guest spot as an MTV VJ a while back, and after playing one of Debbie's videos, he decided that she was someone he'd really like to meet. An MTV crew person got the message out to Debbie, and she sent Bryan an autographed out-of-the-blue LP. In it, she tucked a personal note and her phone number. It took a while. We kept leaving messages on each other's answering machines, Bryan lamented, but eventually they did meet when both were chosen to co-host Nickelodeon's Kids' Choice Awards TV special.
By the way, was that dedicated to me?
I think that was dedicated to both of us.
Just so we're clear on this, when they filmed the first Kids' Choice Awards, Bryan Robbins was 24 and Debbie Gibson was 17. The biography goes on to say they went on a few dates, Robbins went to see Gibson record, they attended a baseball game, but ultimately things didn't develop into a relationship, though Robbins was invited to Gibson's 18th birthday party. Sorry, got distracted by inappropriate age gaps. Back to the show. Gibson, Robbins, and Schneider end up walking into the wrong cave and find themselves exploring strange settings, aka various attractions at Universal Studios, including the King Kong ride, where they manage to slap an oversized Nickelodeon baseball cap onto the animatronic ape.
What do we do?
What?
What do we do now?
There's only one thing to do.
What?
Read the nominees!
Eventually, the three find their way back to the stage. Gibson sings her closing number, and the first Kids' Choice Awards closes out with a shot of WWF's Bobby the Brain Heenan trying to steal part of the set. He was there to protest Hulk Hogan winning favorite male athlete, which, fair.
Hulk Hogan? Hulk Hogan is nothing. Hulk Hogan, I should be the people's choice, not Hulk Hogan.
Mark Summers showed up to run physical challenges with the kids in the audience. There was a musical performance by the Fat Boys, and the Jive 5, the doo-wop group who had been doing Nickelodeon's iconic jingles, step out to explain the premise of the show.
We talked to kids all over the nation. They told us who deserved nominations. Kids cast their ballots at their favorite store, or sending letters of whom they're voting for. Nick has the only show where kids could see who the winners winners are in every category.
Can you believe it? Kids' Choice, Kids' Choice,
Kids' Choice.
Beverly Hills Cop 2 won favorite movie, Alf won favorite television show, and La Bamba by Los Lobos won favorite song. As with the first drafts of most things, a lot of what this first Kids' Choice Awards attempted to do wouldn't stick around. Storylines and direct audience interaction would be used very sparingly, with the focus shifting more on the musical performances and the awards themselves. Most Kids' Choice Awards only had an hour to 90 minutes to present 12 awards, more as the years went on, not to mention the all-important commercial breaks, so cutting out the more fluffy, time-filling elements made sense. After all, that just gets in the way of the Kids' Choice Awards being one massive commercial for entertainment media. Oh, hush your nostalgia brain for a moment, you know it's true. Children's media in the 1980s was defined by their capitalist motivation. Reagan's FCC dissolving policies in order for cartoons to be based on toy lines. There was a Rubik's Cube cartoon. I'm not saying these works were bad, there are good episodes of Transformers and Thundercats, but commercial synergy became a major motivator in what shows got made. Nickelodeon under Jerry Laybourne was less tacky about this, but they certainly engaged with it in hopes of the channel turning a profit. The channel went from commercial-free to frequent ad breaks. They introduced game shows with promotional prizes from Toys R Us and shoe companies. They started merchandising their own shows, not heavily in comparison to elsewhere, but it was there. And Nickelodeon knew the shape of the market very well. After all, they had been spending the last 4 years gathering data about the spending habits of young people. In 1986, Nickelodeon had teamed up with USA Today and the Yankovic Youth Monitor to survey young people between the ages of 6 and 15 and track their spending habits. They discovered that in that year, young people had spent more than $30 billion on record albums, videotapes, movies, clothing, and other household goods. You'll notice that a lot of that is media products. The post-Star Wars scene of movie blockbusters saw theater profits rise exponentially, while the new VHS market allowed for a direct secondary source of income for studios, VHS sales reaching $5.5 billion in 1988. While music ownership had always been a huge industry since the invention of the vinyl record, the technological advancements in cassettes and later compact disc technology meant smaller form factors, allowing for portability and, by extension, sharing music with other potential buyers. And it meant people had more room for more music in their homes. Young people between the ages of 10 and 14 were spending $400 million a year on pre-recorded music. And then there was television. Oh boy, was there television. In the 1986 survey, 88% of participants listed watching television as their primary activity between coming home from school and having dinner. 45% said they had television sets in their bedrooms. And the most popular magazine for teens? Well, it wasn't 17, it wasn't Boy's Life, it was the TV Guide. This was the market. A market Nickelodeon knew very well as it worked with media companies to make an hour-long celebration of their existence. The advertisers have expressed an interest in a program that gives their product large exposure. It can be more than one thing at the same time. The Kids' Choice Awards is a fun, just-for-kids version of a grown-up television genre that gives children the empowerment fantasy of declaring what the best thing is. It's also Nickelodeon's biggest attempt at studio networking, product promotion, and brand synergy. It's media companies scratching each other's backs. Hey, Nickelodeon circa 2002, DreamWorks here. We've got this animated horse movie we want to promote. What if Matt Damon announced an award? That way we can promote the movie and you can attract a bigger audience with the additional star power of Matt Damon.
To present a very special award, we have a very special friend of the Kids' Choice Awards. From the movie Spirit, Stallion of the Cimarron, please welcome Matt Damon!
Nickelodeon has a very targeted, very devoted, very brand-conscious audience. The Kids' Choice Awards is designed as an awards show for kids, by kids. We think that even if we just get to stand next to them, we'll look good. Debbie Gibson and friends walking around Universal Studios isn't just some silly goofing off of the camera, It's a tour of some of the cool attractions at Universal Studios, an advertisement for the company that Nickelodeon was in talks with, and 5 months after the first Kids' Choice Awards aired, a company that Nickelodeon would sign the contract for and begin breaking ground for their upcoming studio attraction at Universal's Florida location. Okay, so against my better judgment, we're going to touch on every Kids' Choice Awards that has ever aired up to the present day. But we'll only touch on a few highlights because A, we don't have all the time in the world, B, they're not all that interesting, and C, while most of the Kids' Choice Awards have been found, thanks to this being the kind of big event that a kid would record on their VCR, I don't have all of them complete. Thankfully, I was able to find at least a little footage from the missing ones, so everything will be represented. So let's get into it. Sadly, right off the bat, this is one I only have a few clips from. We return to Universal Studios Hollywood, this time with hosts Nicole Eggert, aka Jamie from Charles in Charge, and Will Wheaton, aka Wesley from Star Trek The Next Generation. Who Framed Roger Rabbit won favorite movie, The Cosby Show won favorite TV show, and Kokomo by the Beach Boys won favorite song. New Kids on the Block performed a number. Of the clips I have, the most memorable is the favorite sports team category. Not because Bobby the Brain Heenan shows up again, not because the winner was announced on some random guy's ass, but because, for some reason, the crowd hates the Detroit Pistons.
And the Detroit Pistons.
I am sure I could look up why children in 1989 would be upset at the Detroit Pistons, but it's probably a really boring reason. I'd rather just have all of you send me comically wrong explanations in the comments. It's also worth noting that this was advertised as the third Kids' Choice Awards. The Big Ballot, despite being very, very different, ends up getting counted as the first of these. Unlike the Big Ballot, the Kids' Choice Awards nominations and winners were built on national surveys across the country, 500 kids being represented in the 1989 show, which, as we move on, will seem like such a microscopic number. We once again find ourselves at Universal Studios Hollywood, except everyone's pretending they're on a satellite in space, and the production designers made no effort trying to pull off that illusion. Mostly it's an excuse for the Don't Just Sit There kids to show clips of Universal Studios attractions.
Oh no! There's a disaster at our base at Universal! Oh no, you're looking at the earthquake attraction. Oh, that's right. Everything's just fine.
Hosting duties were given to Dave Coulier of Full House and endless reruns of Out of Control, along with the 9th most famous person from Full House, Candace Cameron, and Married with Children star and future Legend of Korra voice actor, David Faustino. MC Hammer and Tommy Page performed 2 times each. The Cosby Show scored another favorite TV show win. Favorite song went to Hanging Tough by New Kids on the Block. And Look Who's Talking won favorite movie, with Kirstie Alley and John Travolta accepting the award. They look so thrilled to be there.
Let's see, I'm old enough to be most of yours mother, so I'm going to say give you a do and give you a don't. So don't do drugs and do recycle.
Gee, thanks, Mom. Yeah, this was a pretty weak show. Dave Coulier spends most of it mincing around doing his okay at best cartoon impressions. There weren't really any weird skits like the first one, and the celebrity presence is pretty minimal. Most of the winners opted for the pre-taped acceptance speech and didn't actually show up. The Kids' Choice Awards just didn't have the promotional sway it was aiming for yet. Apparently, the celebrity situation was even worse in 1989. The first time I worked the Kids' Choice Awards, and for years, it was like Best Actor, Robin Williams, Arnold Schwarzenegger, always the same people, and they would not return our phone calls. They were movie stars, and Nick meant nothing to them. At the second Kids' Choice Awards, the only celebrity we got in the theater to accept an award was Charles Fleischer, the voice of Roger Rabbit. and we had to confirm he'd win an award because he wouldn't come to lose. However, while it is kind of boring, a lot of the structure and imagery of the Kids' Choice Awards would be defined here in 1990. This was the year that introduced their new awards trophies, the Orange Blimp. The previous two shows stuck with the awkward kaleidoscopes from the Big Ballot. The Blimp was far more visually interesting, easier to handle, and hey, it's still technically a kaleidoscope. I wanted the award itself to be something that would differentiate ourselves, something people can actually use. That's a toy. Scott Webb and his creative folks took that and came up with different ideas. The Blimp was one of the most popular of Nickelodeon's logos, so that's why we went with it. This was also when the show started embracing slime as a core element of the ceremony, and by extension, a core element of Nickelodeon. Nickelodeon was certainly known as a messy channel, but green slime was something that was specifically attached to You Can't Do That on Television. The green slime shampoo had the You Can't brand on it. That one time Danger Mouse got slimed, it was because he was interacting with the You Can't cast. And the only person to be slimed in the first Kids' Choice Awards was Les Lie.
Well, how come you won't tell me what happens?
Because I don't know.
However, 1990 was the year production ended on You Can't Do That on Television. Nickelodeon would rerun it for a few more years, but in the meantime, best to separate the green slime from its origins as much as possible, and implementing slime into the ceremony of the Kids' Choice Awards was a prime way to do that. This included a big montage of slimings over the years, and the show introduced a new tradition of sliming a celebrity at the end of each show. This year, it was Wil Wheaton.
How about you, Will? Would you do it?
I don't know.
Sadly, this is the show we have the least amount of footage of, barely even more than a minute, and none of it from the actual stage show. Hosted by Cora Nemec from Parker Lewis Can't Lose, Home Alone would win Favorite Movie, The Simpsons would win Favorite TV Show, and Ice Ice Baby by Vanilla Ice would win Favorite Song. What we do have footage of is the introduction of the Hall of Fame Award with a golden blimp, and its inaugural winner, Paula Abdul, who had won the Favorite Female Musician Award both in 1990 and 1991, and would again in 1992. Nickelodeon loved Paula Abdul.
Paula Abdul!
It's so great winning a Kids' Choice Award. I can't believe it. It's really great because I'm doing it all for you, and I really appreciate all the support. Wait a minute. My blimp's turning gold. Oh my God, it did turn gold. This is the Hall of Fame Award. Oh my God, this is wonderful. I can't believe that I won. And I won because you guys called and voted for me. This is really exciting because it's the first time ever for the Hall of Fame. And I can't believe you picked me. Thanks so much. It's a great honor.
According to press releases, at this point the Nickelodeon surveys that decided the nominees and winners were reaching 2,500 kids across several major US cities. But that brings with it a question. A question multiple people have asked me once I announced I was going to cover the Kids' Choice Awards on Knacks. Are the results genuine, or are they rigged? And you know what? I did the best research I could, scoured as many interviews and newspaper releases, and checked every avenue available to a layperson such as myself in hopes of finding a nugget of truth, and I can say conclusively that I'm not sure. The Academy of Motion Pictures and Sciences tries to maintain a sense of authority and authenticity in their awards by having a certain amount of transparency in their processes, because they want the Academy Awards to seem important, that it matters who wins that night. The Kids' Choice Awards is not that. It is a goofy party meant to make kids feel good about themselves, and children just aren't going to feel ripped off and demand to see the books. There is no legal or moral obligation for Nickelodeon to disclose their survey numbers, and I wouldn't be surprised if extenuating factors affected the results. Like, this is supposed to be a star-studded show, and the winning celebrity should probably be there if at all possible. Sometimes they go for taped acceptance speeches, but I wouldn't be surprised if, say, The celebrity who got top marks in the survey was completely unavailable, so Nickelodeon gave the award to the second place spot because that person could show up. This is an entertainment product with certain promotional interests first, and an award show second. So if some or all of the results are predetermined, I wouldn't be surprised. But I can't prove that. You can't prove that either. There are certain trends and nominees and winners that some point to as evidence that the awards are rigged. But as I unfold this further, I hope to show it's not that clear cut. At the end of the day, if the show is fun, does it matter? Once again filmed at Universal Studios in Hollywood and hosted by Hanging with Mr. Cooper's Holly Robinson and Beverly Hills 90210's Brian Austin Green and Tori Spelling. And this was the first Kids' Choice Awards to air live.
Anything could happen, surprise guests, spontaneous musical performances, or we could have technical difficulties, so bear with us because that's all part of the excitement of live TV, okay?
This was also the first post-Nicktoons Kids' Choice Awards, so Nick's animated characters started to get folded into the ceremony. In this case, with the show being introed by Ren and Stimpy.
Hello, kids. Come on, Stimpy, say hello. Where are we, Ren? We're live at the Kids' Choice Awards. Live? The Kids' Choice Awards? Yes, you idiot. On TV. Live. On TV? Like the Muddy Mud Skipper show?
The Addams Family won Favorite Movie, Beverly Hills 90210 won Favorite TV Show, and Jump by Criss Cross won Favorite Song. Criss Cross, Joe Public, and Shanice performed, the cast of Roundhouse danced, and the three child actors of Home Improvement were supposed to be the slime celebrities this year, but something went wrong, and the slime completely missed them. Oh, and Arnold Schwarzenegger grabbed this year's Hall of Fame award along with Favorite Movie Actor for Terminator 2, and he really likes these blimps.
I cannot wait to take this blimp home and to put it on my blimp shelf, because there I play with them and move them around and do things with them that only I can do. You see, no one else is allowed to touch them. So thanks very much.
Now, for whatever reason, the 1992 Kids' Choice Awards aired far later in the year than usual, in November instead of April, which is very, very late for a celebration of media that came out in 1991. And in 1993, there was no Kids' Choice Awards, the only year to be skipped in the show's entire history. In the early days of the internet, as this information was still being collected, there were those who thought there was a 93 Kids' Choice that had been hosted by Paula Abdul, and it turns out they weren't making stuff up, just misremembering. The 1992 show was rerun on May 9th, 1993. Kids' Choice reruns after the first week being very rare since A, these shows are celebrating media from a specific time frame and quickly become outdated, and B, rerunning them would certainly mean residual payments to all these A-list celebrity performers. At the beginning of each Kids' Choice, we get a long list of all the celebrities slated to appear in alphabetical order, and in the 1992 show, the first person on that list was Paula Abdul. You can see where the confusion came from. After taking a year off, we're finally shaking up the locations a bit, with ceremonies being held at the Pantages Theater in Los Angeles, hosted by Blossom's Joey Lawrence and the somehow less relevant sister of Kirk Cameron, and partially at Universal Studios Florida, hosted by Mark Weiner. Jurassic Park won Favorite Movie, Home Improvement won Favorite TV Show, and whoop, there it is by Tag Team won Favorite Song. Tag Team, All for One, and Tevin Campbell performed, and Michael Jordan won the Hall of Fame award. Storylines made a brief, kind of ineffectual return here. Halfway through the show, Linda Ellerby makes a breaking news report. It seems that somebody in the area is, wearing bright orange shoes. Ooh.
The shoes are believed to belong to the Orange Avenger. Here is a police artist sketch. Adults should be on the lookout. The shoes may be in disguise.
Okay,
Whoa!
So, I guess the idea is that somebody really famous is walking around Los Angeles in these bright orange sneakers, and they keep teasing it. Oh, who could this mysterious stranger be? I bet it's some super famous celebrity like Tom Cruise or Bruce Willis or something. And then the Orange Avenger shows up and it's just Bob Saget. I mean, I like Bob Saget as much as the next person, but the host of America's Funniest Home Videos isn't exactly big reveal material. And I'm not entirely sure he wants to be there.
I am, thank you, security, I am the Orange Avenger. It's me, sure it is. And I want all you kids to know that I'm talking. I want you all to know that I am not hurt, that you guys did not pick me as one of your favorites tonight. How can you hear me when you're screaming? Are you okay? Thank you. You're in labor. I wanted to be part of this show, and I have to shut up now. I've talked too long. Did I do okay? Did I do all right?
They don't even slime Bob Saget. What was the point of this? At least they slimed James Earl Jones in the beginning. He seemed into it.
I feel the spirit of Nickelodeon.
1995 is another show I only have a few clips of, which is a shame because the production values really start to take off at this point. Instead of a traditional stage, the show moved to the Barker Hangar out of the Santa Monica airport, allowing for a massive set with lots of depth and large props, including 2 huge orange blimps. This was also when Nickelodeon decided they had the money and promotional sway to stop having young sitcom actors host the show and instead get actual A-list superstars. And in 1995, that meant musical legend Whitney Houston.
Hi, I'm Whitney Houston, host of Nickelodeon's 8th Annual Kids' Choice Awards, the only award show where you pick the winners. And this year, hundreds of thousands of you voted for your favorites in movies, TV, music, sports, and more. Who are your winners? Stick with me to find out.
Don't miss Nickelodeon's 8th Annual Kids' Choice Awards, live Saturday, May 20th, only on Nick.
Brandy, Soul for Real, and Montel Jordan performed. Boys to Men won the Hall of Fame award, The Lion King won Favorite Movie, Home Improvement won Favorite TV Show, and Creep by TLC won Favorite Song. But wait, there's more! Because this year, the Kids' Choice Awards injected 4 new awards. Favorite Video Game, Donkey Kong Country, Favorite Book, Deep Trouble by R.L. Stine, Favorite Animal Star, That Dog from the Mask, and the infamous Favorite Cartoon category, which in this first year was given to Doug. Now this is interesting for several reasons. Counting the big ballot, this is the 8th of these award shows, and this is only the first time Nickelodeon gave itself an award. First time it ever nominated itself. That's some pretty decent restraint, but it's also weird that it was Doug, right? First off, Doug barely qualifies for an award show celebrating media that came out in 1994. The last new episode of its Nickelodeon run aired on January 2nd, 1994. This award is for the graduation episode and nothing else. And don't get me wrong, I really like Doug. It's my personal, subjective favorite of the original Nicktoons trilogy. But I can't imagine it being the majority favorite Nicktoon of kids in 1995. Not when your choices includes Rugrats, Ren and Stimpy, Rocko's Modern Life, and Ah Real Monsters, all of which would qualify for that year's awards. In the category itself, Doug beat the Aladdin cartoon, which is fine, I could see that happening, and Animaniacs. How did Doug beat Animaniacs? It's the greatest show on earth all over again. Yeah, but what's an award show without a few what wins? The real story is the longer history of the favorite cartoon category. Nickelodeon has won this category every time since its inception, save once. Rugrats would have a 6-year winning streak between 1996 and 2001, ended by The Simpsons in 2002, and then after that, 5 straight wins from SpongeBob SquarePants, then Avatar The Last Airbender in 2008, and then nothing but SpongeBob between 2009 and now. With 18 wins under its belt as of this recording, SpongeBob SquarePants winning favorite cartoon is almost a meme by this point, and is the core piece of evidence in online discourse about how the Kids' Choice Awards is totally rigged, man. Again, I don't know if it is. Maybe, maybe not. But there is a possible explanation for this reign of SpongeBob SquarePants beyond Nickelodeon picked the winners themselves, and that's sampling bias. By 1995, Nickelodeon was no longer just going around a few McDonald's and asking 500 random kids their opinions on movies. Their survey operations for the Kids' Choice Awards had ballooned considerably, and according to press releases at the time, they got the opinions of 26 million kids in 1995. That's a lot! But how were they getting this survey data? In 1995, they used 3 methods. The first was a call-in campaign through the channel's evening programming block, SNICK. For a few weeks, a category would be presented, a toll-free number would be given, and you, young viewer, would call in with your vote.
Hi, I'm Alex Mack, and I've got some pretty weird powers. Well, tonight you've got the power to call and cast your vote for Nickelodeon's 8th Annual Kids' Choice Awards. It's the only award show where kids pick their favorites. SNICK's the only place where you can call in, and I'm the only one who can give you the info you need. First thing you need to know right now is tonight's category, music. You'll have 3 chances to call in and vote. First for your favorite singer, then for your favorite group, and finally for your favorite song. You'll find out who kids picked on Nickelodeon's 8th Annual Kids' Choice Awards on May 20th. But first, Nick's got to hear from you. Grab a pencil. I'll be back in a few to tell you the nominees and give you the phone number to call. So snick around.
You could also vote through Nickelodeon's official email via America Online, or you could fill out a physical ballot at Nickelodeon Studios at Universal Studios, Florida. A phone number you got from watching Nickelodeon, an email address from the Nickelodeon page on AOL, or a polling station at Nickelodeon's big theme park attraction. This was not a general audience survey anymore. This was a survey of kids who were already dedicated Nickelodeon watchers. And it would continue to be so. That's sampling bias. Add the fact that Nickelodeon promotes certain shows heavily compared to others. For a while, Rugrats was the biggest thing on the channel, and for the last 20 years, it's been SpongeBob SquarePants. When you ask a bunch of children, not discerning, critically thinking adults, but children who watch a lot of Nickelodeon, when you ask them what show is their favorite, they're probably going to say that show that's on the most on their favorite channel. If Cartoon Network or the Disney Channel ran similar award shows and gathered their data in similar ways, I guarantee you would see the same kind of self-rewarding results. Of course, a channel's dedicated audience is going to vote in favor of that channel. I don't think that fits into the definition of rigging, but it's certainly an echo chamber, one that the Kids' Choice Awards now lived in. Oh lordy, we still have many to get through here. Returning to Universal Studios Hollywood and once again hosted by Whitney Houston, who I miss so very much. Apparently she did so well in '95 that the NAACP gave her an Image Award in the category of Best Performance in a TV Special.
Listen, you guys squirmed through the Grammys, yawned at the Emmys, and zoned out during the Oscars, as well as I did. But finally, the night has come in Hollywood, where kids rule!
We also have additional segments on a cruise ship off the New York harbor to promote that year's Hall of Fame award. These segments were hosted by Rosie O'Donnell, beginning her record 8-year stretch hosting the awards.
Look who I just bumped into! Michelle Trachtenberg, the star of Nickelodeon's Pete and Pete in the upcoming Nickelodeon movie Harriet the Spy, coming soon to a theater near you.
Rosie, we got stowaways on board.
What are you talking about, Mish?
Check out the clothes. This rope is hanging over the boat. Yeah. This diver's mask on the Lido deck. And this...
What is that?
Hey, that's my bone!
Ace Ventura, When Nature Calls, one favorite movie. Home Improvement, one favorite TV show. Gangsta's Paradise by Coolio, one favorite song. And Tim Allen won the Hall of Fame award. Whitney Houston, All for One, Monica, and Bo Deans performed. The set had a big playground thing going on, with presenters coming down on a giant slide, which didn't really look as fun as it should have, which is a problem when you're James Cromwell and you're trying to look cool for the kids.
Wow, things have sure changed since I was a kid. I remember I used to love to go to the playground, and roller skate, jump over bottles. These kids still do that?
Queen Latifah got slimed, the Cat in the Hat showed up. It was a fun time. Though by now the Kids' Choice Awards had really settled into its groove. These shows start to get very samey around this time. If you're counting the Big Ballot and the 1993 rerun, which Nickelodeon apparently are, this is the 10th Kids' Choice Awards. Nice round number there. And to mark the occasion, the classic logo that adorned the previous 8 ceremonies was dropped, and from now on each show would have a new title treatment. This one was filmed in the Grand Olympic Auditorium in Los Angeles. Being a sporting arena meant that the audience surrounded the performance stage instead of sitting just in front of it. Rosie O'Donnell levels up from co-host to main host, the special opening with her being kidnapped off the set of her talk show by Danny Tamborelli. Independence Day won favorite movie, Home Improvement won favorite TV show, and Killing Me Softly by the Fugees won favorite song. Will Smith won the Hall of Fame award. Savage Garden, Jewel, Coolio, and Immature all performed. Rosie O'Donnell got slimed, it's kind of a stock standard show, and then Chris Farley shows up and destroys everything.
Not the podium.
I was supposed to chop the wood, not the podium. Yeah. Okay. The nominees.
I miss Chris Farley. This was also the year Nickelodeon started to follow the ceremony with a new show premiere. In this case, The Angry Beavers. From 1988 to 1991, the evening airings of the Kids' Choice Awards just led directly into Nick at Night. And then from 1992 to 1996, the show was just followed by whatever, usually Ren and Stimpy. But now that the Kids' Choice Awards had finally found legs, Nickelodeon started using the opportunity to get eyes on that year's big new show. The Angry Beavers, Cat Dog, SpongeBob SquarePants, All Grown Up, Danny Phantom, Dance on Sunset, The Penguins of Madagascar, Victorious, Monsters vs. Aliens, Harvey Beaks, School of Rock, and Hunter Street all premiered right after a Kids' Choice Awards. And the award ceremonies that weren't followed by a premiere were almost always followed by a new episode of a popular show or some kind of promotional special. Kids' Choice Awards night was a proper event night.
So bring it on.
I think it's really great that kids are so involved in this. Just look at how many of them vote every year. They're so enthusiastic about it, you can see it really matters to them. I give the people at Nickelodeon a lot of credit for pulling together an award show that's as much fun to watch as it is to participate in. They get performers and presenters who really love kids, and who value what kids think and feel. That's important. The celebrities aren't there just for the sake of putting celebrities on. Filmed at the Poly Pavilion in Los Angeles, there wasn't much to this show. The main gimmick is that normal, non-famous kids would announce the awards alongside celebrities, and that the winners would be revealed through a collection of Rube Goldberg-style contraptions. It's not nearly as exciting as you imagine. Rosie O'Donnell is back, not just as host, but now as a co-producer. Her main advantage as both a host and now as a creative behind the scenes is her ability to match the energy of the kids in the room. Rosie really tries to make a connection, a kinship between herself and the young audience.
Because this is the night, this is the big night, the huge night where kids rule!
We get musical performances from Aerosmith, Cleopatra, Puff Daddy, and Hanson. Titanic wins favorite movie, Kenan and Kel wins favorite TV show, the first live-action TV win for Nickelodeon, Mbop by Hanson wins favorite song, and Tia and Tamara Mowry won the Hall of Fame award. Puff Daddy was supposed to be this year's slime celebrity, but they messed up their marks again and the slime misses him by a mile.
What do you think those orange blimps are made of?
I don't know.
I don't know!
The worst part, and also my favorite part of the 1998 show, was when Rugrats won favorite cartoon again, they decided to have the Rugrats characters accept the awards with these terrible, nonsensical animations of the characters walking in place.
We won! We won! We won! We won! I want to thank me, and me! What can I say? You like me! Oh, thank you, thank you! Thank you, thank you! Thank you! Okay, babies, back to the set. Let's move it!
Well, that was something. Next. The Poly Pavilion once again, Rosie O'Donnell once again. This time the set was a wacky miniature golf course that would announce winners once a kid got the ball in the hole. Except the ball would often go wild and have to be collected by the cameraman, and also the flag mechanism for the winners' names would get caught. It really wasn't that well thought out. But it's all worth it for an ongoing segment where Kenan Thompson plays golf against Randy Macho Man Savage, and the two become best friends.
It's been a wild, wild ride. Oh, yeah.
We get musical performances from Third Story, Britney Spears, NSYNC, and TLC. The Rugrats movie wins favorite movie. All That wins favorite TV show. Everybody, Backstreet's Back, wins favorite song. And Jonathan Taylor Thomas wins the Hall of Fame award. The Macho Man got the slime at the end. These are really starting to blend together. And to make matters worse, this year the Kids' Choice Awards would get some competition from Fox. The Teen Choice Awards, while aiming for a slightly older teenage demographic, did the same young people vote for their favorites in entertainment. Only the Teen Choice Awards make slightly more PG-13 jokes, and the awards are these giant awkward surfboards that you know are all getting thrown away after the show. You can't put one of these in your award shelf. Well, if the Kids' Choice Awards is going to be challenged, the only course of action is to go even bigger. Filmed at the Hollywood Bowl in Los Angeles, this was the biggest Kids' Choice Awards yet. While Rosie retained central host duties, the show brought in 4 co-hosts to cover specific categories. First, David Arquette, here to promote his film Ready to Rumble. Hey, remember that? It was directed by future Nickelodeon president and former Debbie Gibson pursuer Bryan Robbins. Arquette is here to announce the movie awards, and, he's not good.
Wow! Bo Winkle and Robert De Niro, together at last. I got the perfect title for a next buddy movie they do together. It's called Pokey Moose.
Big Daddy would win favorite movie. Malcolm in the Middle's Frankie Muniz does a bit better job at hosting the TV categories. All That would win favorite TV show. We can start to see how the Teen Choice Awards might have been affecting the show's tone. Steve from Blue's Clues shows up at one point and starts getting pawed at by Leslie Bibb and Carly Pope, and it's super awkward.
Okay, ladies. Here's the deal. I'll give you clues as to who might be getting the next blimp, and then we can guess who the winner might be.
That sounds kind of tough, but we'll give it a shot.
What's the deal, Steve? You got some kind of inside info because you work at Nick?
No, it's just the way I work.
Oh, really? You know what? It's okay, Carr. Listen, Steve, just give us a clue and we'll see how we do.
Well, I don't know. Maybe I don't want to give you a clue now. I mean...
Oh, come on. Just give us a little clue.
No. No.
What's the clue, Steve?
You know, why don't you go buy a clue? I mean, after all, you guys are so popular, right? You know, why don't you go ask some of your friends or something?
Can I borrow your credit card?
Sure.
Oh, come on. We're pals here. Just tell us.
Steve, let's just take a look at some of our other TV favorites.
Oh, hey, guess what? Big news. I'm leaving.
The sports categories were handled by LL Cool J, and the music categories were given to Mandy Moore, with Wild Wild West by Will Smith winning favorite song. One of the year's gimmicks was the winners were displayed on this weird, twisty bit of metal and glass, an art installment of ultra-modern millennial aesthetic, and the idea was that it only worked if the audience screamed loud enough. The Kids' Choice Awards have always been kind of loud, but this year was loud. We get musical performances from the Goo Goo Dolls, Jennifer Lopez, NSYNC, Jessica Simpson, and Nick Lachey. Will Smith got slimed, and Rosie O'Donnell herself would win what would turn out to be the final Hall of Fame award. It's just too much. Really. Too big, too loud, too long. It's not great in the exact opposite way the 1990 show wasn't great. Speaking of the influence of the Teen Choice Awards, a new production company stepped in to produce the Kids' Choice Awards this year, Bain Productions, a company that produced sporting and concert events for television, but really specialized in these secondary television award shows. Their bread and butter were things like the Billboard Music Awards, the Clio Awards, the TV Guide Awards, and yes, the Teen Choice Awards. Nickelodeon saw that the Teen Choice Awards were here to stay and went, well, if you can't beat them, hire the people who make them. Bain Productions would work on the Kids' Choice Awards up through 2014. We return to the Barker Hangar, with Rosie O'Donnell hosting solo, which was actually a bit of a surprise. You might notice her bandaged left hand there. She had spent most of the month leading up to the awards dealing with a nasty staph infection that came dangerously close to needing amputation. She took 2 weeks off from her talk show to recover and had only been released from the hospital 11 days prior to the award show. And in fact, the Associated Press had reported that Rosie wasn't going to be able to make it. Rosie is under doctor's orders not to travel at this time, and her health is our first and foremost concern, said Albie Hetch, executive producer of the Kids' Choice Awards and president of film and TV production for Nickelodeon, TV Land, and TNN. Hetch said, Rosie is irreplaceable, but there will be a special surprise guest along with other celebrities including Cameron Diaz, Eddie Murphy, and Mike Myers to run the show. But, in what many might consider a good work ethic but is actually a bad work ethic, your health takes priority over your job, Rosie O'Donnell did in fact host the show. Rosie, I see that plastic bag over your hand. Are you gonna slime yourself along with Tom Cruise? Don't do it, Rosie, that's gonna get in the stitches, Rosie. This year's show had a spaceship theme, which they didn't do too much with, but we did get to see WWE superstar Chyna hang out with Chewbacca.
You know, in the new millennium, girls are kicking butt more than ever, and not just in the ring. They're soccer champs, they're senators, they're anything they want to be. You said it, Chewie.
It was also the first show with a burping competition, which would become a show tradition for a while. How the Grinch Stole Christmas won favorite movie, Malcolm in the Middle won favorite TV show, Who Let the Dogs Out by the Baha Men won favorite song, and to replace the Hall of Fame award, we have the Wannabe Award, given to those celebrities you want to be, which in 2001 was Tom Cruise. The Backstreet Boys, Aaron Carter, Destiny's Child, and Lil Bow Wow all performed, and holy crap, I've got 20 more of these to do. You know what? We're gonna make this a two-parter. Join me in part 2 where we talk about the end of the Rosie O'Donnell era, the rise of Jack Black, the decline in ratings, and how the Kids' Choice Awards handled COVID.